It is becoming more and more difficult for studios to keep a lot of things under wraps, right? There's a lot of production. And unlike, say, in the 80s and maybe 90s, today, every single person you know walks around with a global audio, video communication, instantaneous communication device in their pockets. Didn't used to be like that. Back in the days that they made The Godfather. Back in the days when they made Star Wars and stuff like that.
Thank God, by the way.
But today, everybody is connected to everybody instantaneously with any audio and video goodness you want. And so leaks happen for all these movies. And by the way, it's not just little Twitter handles that do it. You know, outlets like Variety and The Hollywood Reporter, they find out information and they spill it. They break exclusives and break news, stuff that oftentimes the studio didn't want to come out yet, but they find out and they break the news and all that kind of stuff. But the studios like to know where it's coming from. And there's been a particular Twitter handle or Instagram account that I guess has been spilling a lot of Captain America 4 stuff. And now they've taken the unprecedented step of actually going to court and trying to get a subpoena at Instagram to get the actual identity of the person leaking it. This comes to us from the folks over at Variety, who write the following: Marvel seeks subpoena forcing Instagram to unmask alleged Captain America Brave New World leaker. They said this: Marvel alleges an Instagram user illegally posted an image from unreleased Captain America Brave New World movie, and it has gone to court to try to make Instagram disclose the identity of the account's operator. Marvel filed a subpoena request on May 7th in U.S. District Court of California Northern District in San Jose, asking the court to order Instagram to identify the person or people behind the @CanWeGetSomeToast account. Marvel alleged that the account, quote-unquote, published a copyright image from an upcoming Marvel Studio motion picture, Captain America Brave New World, without authorization. The Disney-owned studio is seeking the subpoena pursuant to the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. Okay. So, for those of you who don't know, a subpoena, there's different types of subpoenas. One is, the one that most people are familiar with is the subpoena that calls on you to appear in court, right? You are required and ordered to appear in court. That's what people, I'm oversimplifying it, but that's what people think of. But there's another kind of subpoena that obligates you to turn over information. And what Marvel has now done here is to go to Instagram. They've gone to the court and said, we want Instagram to reveal the actual identity of the individuals leaking this information. Now, it is an interesting quandary because it raises some very, very big questions. Like I said, whenever Variety breaks a story, unless they get the story from the studio, but oftentimes they do not. Variety has journalists who do investigative journalism and they find out information, maybe information about an upcoming movie that the studio didn't want to come out yet, but they find out about it and they reveal it to the world. I contend to you that is no different than some Twitter account finding a piece of audio or video or image and putting it, saying, hey, we got this information. Regardless, it's information, whether it's a video, audio thing, story that Variety art published and stuff like that. And is Marvel trying to shut down people relaying information? And that makes me a little bit worried. But here's where the difference is. When Variety posts a story, they know who is posting the story. When some big outlet drops an image, they know the outlet. They know who's dropped the image. I think what has Disney a little upset here, and I could be wrong, I've not spoken to anybody at Disney for this story, is that there's some anonymous person who's using their anonymous account to anonymously post all this stuff. And they're saying that's different. That's not the same as the Hollywood Reporter releasing information or Variety releasing information or whatever, because we know who they are. We may not know who their source is, but we know where it's coming from. I know a little something about this. Some of you might recall.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago. Well, so Spider-Man No Way Home is coming out. And I got fed some fake images that looked remarkable. but we knew they were fake images, put them out, and everybody loved them, blah, blah. So I got sent, for those of you who haven't heard this story, I got sent more Spider-Man images one time that I thought were fake. And I put them up on my Twitter account. 5 minutes later, I got contacted from somebody not at Disney telling me, hey, John, those images you posted that you said you don't think are real because of Tobey Maguire's dick. I'm like, yeah, because they're real. I'm like, oh shit. And I took them down. 5 minutes later, after I took him down, rep from Disney gets a hold of me and says, John, those pictures you posted, they're real. I'm like, I know, they're already down. He's like, okay, good, they're down, right? So anyway, I got this, but here's where it connects to this. So in talking with Disney was like, their rep to me was like, listen, everybody here knows you didn't purposely post real pictures. You clearly thought they were fake. I'm like, yeah, because we know you wouldn't do that. And they said, but you know what would go over real well with the other uppity ups here at Disney? I'm like, what's that? Tell us where you got them from. Tell us who sent them to you. And I'm like, whoa, I'm not going to do that. And they're like, why? You don't owe these people anything, blah, blah, blah. And look, I understand why they asked. I don't hold it against them that they asked.
Sure.
I don't hold it against Disney at all that they asked. But they were like, just like, we all know you didn't do it on purpose, but just tell us who it came from. I'm like, listen, dude, the moment I tell you where it came from, like, regardless of the circumstances, if I tell you that, no one's ever going to tell me anything again. If I start revealing, you know, who tells me what, like, you would never ask Variety to do that. You would never ask, and I'm not Variety, obviously, but I think they just want to know where it's coming from. Right. And I get it. They're trying to keep their stuff secure. They want to know, hey, you can't plug a leak unless you know where the leak is. Right. So I didn't fault them for asking, but I politely declined to tell them where I got it from. I never communicated with that person again, but I mean, I decided I'm not going to reveal where it came from. We're going to leave it at that, but they know I was the one who posted it. I wasn't going to give up a source. This is different here. They don't even know who's posting it.
Right.
So they're going after them. I just hope though. So I kind of get where Disney's coming from, but I just hope it doesn't lead to like a slippery slope where it's like, they think that gives them an open right to go after like even the real trades, whether it's The Wrap or Hollywood Reporter or whatever, saying, hey, who told you that we've signed on this actor to be in this movie? Well, we're not going to tell you where it comes from. So it's just one of these things that could become a slippery slope. I'm not really sure how I feel about it, other than I get the idea that they at least want to know who it is that's posting their stuff. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Cuts Clothing. Let's be real. Most guys would wear a t-shirt every day of their lives if we could. The problem is that most t-shirts are not acceptable to wear at work or out on a hot date. Today's sponsor, Cuts, has finally changed that. Cuts t-shirts are such high quality, wrinkle-free, and so buttery soft that you can look like you're dressing up even when you're dressing down. Yeah, you heard that right. They are wrinkle-free. And for a limited time, you can save money while redefining the dress code by heading to cutsclothing.com and use the code Campea for 20% off. Guys, you know me, when it comes to clothing, my number one priority is comfort, and I could not believe just how comfortable my Cuts shirt was. It was light, it breathed, it felt like $1,000,000, and it made me feel like I looked like $1,000,000 too. And the best part? Cuts Clothing is built to last. Their durable construction means you'll be enjoying your favorite shirts and pants for years to come, making them a smart investment for your wardrobe. So guys, for a limited time, our listeners get 20% off your entire order when you use the code Campea at checkout. That's 20% off your order at cutsclothing.com with the promo code Campea. Please support our show by telling them that the John Campea Show sent you. Experience the perfect blend of style and comfort with Cuts Clothing. I don't know, Rob, you read about this. It's something that can become very tricky, but how do you see this?
Well, you know, for me, it comes down to intent. It's like, look, we all know it's been a problematic production. You know, they brought in other writers, and depending on what you believe, obviously this has been something that's been troubled, and they want to be very protective. I mean, spoiler alerts, like I posted a picture, I drove by I was at a stoplight, I turned and looked at the local McDonald's, and there was a poster for a Brave New World Happy Meal. I took a picture of it. You can get Brave New World Happy Meals with the Brave New World toys at McDonald's right now.
What one of those toys are?
I know, and it's
Red
like
Hulk.
I understand where they're coming from, and to me, I don't like the spoiler culture where people look fans. I've been a part of the fan community, and everyone likes to have that little piece of information that nobody else has. I get it. I've been that way since I was a kid. I understand, but there's a maliciousness, I think, to what's happening here, in the sense that there is an attempt, because people hate the MCU or whatever, for whatever reason, that they're in a way trying to spoil the fun for people, or they're trying to diminish. I don't like that. You know, I love the Captain America films. I love Anthony Mackie as an actor. I really hope this movie's good. I hope they've been able to course correct. And I think what they're trying to do is protect their not insignificant investment, because God only knows what the budget of this movie is ballooned to. So they're looking out for their product that is someone is trying to damage on purpose on social media. I mean, why do you think I stopped doing cocaine at parties? I didn't want to get a picture of me put up on Instagram. You know, I mean, I'm kidding. That was a joke.
He still does cocaine at parties.
No, I don't. But no, but that's the thing. They're trying to be malicious. And I think that's where the line is. And I think that's where reporting, you got to protect. Look, it's one thing to, okay, spoil the surprise. But when you're actively trying to damage a product, I think that's why Disney's pissed. And that's why they're taking the extraordinary measures of getting a subpoena and finding out who did this. Now, the problem is the people who are doing these things, they're like, hey, I got someone over on the mouse house. They're not thinking about, and there's just a profound lack of respect across our culture in general. And I can see why Disney is doing this. And I do think that maybe it'll give people pause. Does that mean that I want people to stop sending me scripts for movies that are coming out in 2 years? No. Send me your scripts, not your scripts. But if you've got great scripts for movies that are being made, that's another thing entirely. But yeah, so I think that's what's going on here. And I got to say, in this particular instance, I'm on Disney's side. John, if you and I were producing a movie, whatever that movie might be, and we've put our heart and souls into it, we've invested money into it, we're letting it all ride. And if somebody, some viewer just came to our set one day and we didn't know and was taking all these pictures and spoiled all these surprises, we'd be pissed too.
By the way, we'll talk about it tomorrow, but I just wanted to point out this story has just broke that Edgar Wright is in talks to direct Barbarella with Sydney Sweeney. Edgar Wright with Sydney Sweeney directing Barbarella.
Bring it on.
We'll talk more about that tomorrow.
She's got a theme song.
To actually read all the once we have a chance to read all the information about it. But anyway, guys, question is for you. What I think this brings up some very interesting questions, like what about journalistic integrity? What about, major outlets that break stories that the studio didn't want broke? Where do we draw the line of the difference between pure information versus visual information versus whatever? Who's allowed to do it and who has? Are we creating a class system? But at the same time, do studios have at least a right to know who it is that's leaking it or who's saying it online? It's an interesting thing that's going to bring up a lot of questions and maybe some interesting answers. Question is for you guys. What do you think about this? Jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.